As you may or may not know, command radios, I really like them. I did a bunch of videos on them, so just put in my last name and command radios. All right, now these things use a special knob to turn them. There's a spline shaft in here. I've showed you the inside. I showed you the spline shaft. But what I want to show you is what's called a local knob. All right, and this is the coveted local knob for a command radio. And what this is this is a knob that goes on the radio so you can locally tune it. I'll show you that in a second. Now normally a speedometer type cable comes off here. It goes over to a box, and that box has a dial on just like this, and when you crank it, the speedometer cable comes over here and cranks this at the same time. So these boxes can sit by the radio guy, and the cable can run all the way over by the pilot or the co-pilot, and they can work the radio. All right, but the radio guy can then take the he can take the speedometer cable thing off, and he can put this local knob. Now this local knob actually has a unit that screws onto this thread. There's a thread on this, and you put this in. First you make sure you got it on the spline, and then you tighten this thing down. Okay, now it's tight. Now you can tune it like this, or you can turn the crank, and it doesn't work as good as you'd think it would work. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. It's all BS, because this mechanism is oiled. It works perfectly fine. This is crap. Okay, total crap. And I know a lot of you that have command radios are probably saying, gee, I wish I could get the local knob. It's hype. Okay, this thing can go anywhere from $35 to $69. It ain't worth shit. Okay, I just wanted to get one in my hand just so I could tell you the honest truth. Now, what should you use? Well, first of all, you buy a command radio. I told you, look at my other videos. You got to recap it. You got to build a power supply. Now, here's my power supply. Okay, fits right on the back. I showed you how to make this. Okay, it drops on the back of this radio, down the back. You just kind of jiggle it in there, and it's in. Well, maybe not in. All right, anyway, it's being a jerk today. Yeah, it's being a jerk. Okay, now it's in. But anyway, I showed you how to make the power supply. Now, we're back to the knob. I told you, this is a piece of ice maker tubing. Okay? You push this onto the shaft, and now you can at least turn the radio. And when you tune it, you'll find out that it's binding up on you. You got to take the radio apart. You got to take the mechanism out, and you got to clean it and oil it with the motor oil. Don't use 3-in-1 oil. Okay, but that's all you actually need to get into a position where you could actually service the radio, right? And it takes 100 turns of this to make this dial go its full 180 degrees. It's about 180. It's not a 360 dial. Anyway, so that's one way you can do it. Then on eBay or ePay or eDumpster, you might see a radio with one of these. And this might have been, it has a spline in here. I think this was sold by Fair Radio Sales. They might have had a bunch of these made, or these just happen to be a knob that come off a radio or a clock radio, and it just happens to fit on that spline. Okay, and now you can move this radio or turn the dial back and forth. All right, if you get it, right now it's a little tight. All right, let's try a different position. Okay, so that's the thing. You gotta look for one of these, but this is my favorite. Okay, really nice. Okay, now you want to get a little fancier. I showed you that in one of the other videos. You take a regular nice knob, you put a 1/4-inch shafting piece of shaft off an old line patrol in there, and then you put a piece of this tubing onto that, and it joins them up. You press that on there, and you're in business. Okay, and to make this, The tubing's probably a buck a foot, something like that. And you're going to have to buy, I'm pretty sure, a minimum of a foot. But in other words, you can make your own knobs. And I'll tell you right now, this works so much better. And so does this. Okay? Than an original knob. Okay? I have an original knob. I'm showing it to you right now. You got to catch the spline first. Then you got to turn this thing on over on the threads. And of course, it's not going to work for the camera. There you go. So now you're down to the ice tubing, and this crank is BS. This is total freaking BS. Yeah, you're going to crank this, and I don't know how many turns. 100 turns. You're going to crank this thing, and you're going to go from one end to the other. What a! And like I said, 30-something bucks to $70. There's one on eBay right now for like 69, and I think there is shipping. But when I got this, I wanted this knob. I wanted to see how it was made, and I was wondering why nobody else has like remade these knobs. They're garbage, okay? And there might be a ball bearing in there somewhere, but when you turn this crank here, this doesn't look like there's any ball bearing in here. Am I in the frame? You know, pretty cheesy, man. But you know, when you see it, you're like, it's original. Yeah, But that's a video. There's nothing like a piece of ice maker tubing works the best. Oh my God. Yeah, we're locking up now. We're locking up. Let's pull it out a little bit. We're in too far. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can push this in too far. And on the abortion booklets, there's abortion booklets. Abortion's very popular in the news. But there's abortion booklets on how to modify this radio. And they tell you to take a piece of copper tubing and press fit it in there. Put some Duco cement on it the night before. Press fit it over the spline. But if you do that, and then this binds up on you, or the glue gets down on the mechanism, just try to take this apart. Okay? I'm the type of guy that warns you. I'm telling you, you can make a better knob combination with some tubing, because that spline, on all the radios I have, that spline is not centered in this hole to start with. So if you're putting something this precision on there, you're going to have a problem. You need a little bit of flexibility. But originally these radios had like a speedometer cable, and you could still buy that cable on eBay to go to the case, to the little box with the dial on it. And some of these radios, when you open them up, if you get a really one in good shape, has these little clips on the top you have to open up. Let's see if it opens for me. If you really get one that's not been messed with, on here somehow, there's a little dial that matches this dial. Okay? And that little dial, I asked a few people what that was for. They didn't know. That little dial gets put on the remote dial, the remote crank. And it's got one of these on it. And it's a box. It's got the dial. And the pilot can have it, or co-pilot can have the radio. It's still in the radio room, which is, I think, behind his seat in another room. But he can actually control the radio from up in the front. Or the guy, depending on the boxes and how you hook them up, can control the radio from the radio room. I think that's it. All right, that's it.